Hi everyone, it's Jay here, and today I'm going to review some of the manga and manhwa I have read last month in October. I read 11 volumes, which isn't great, but also isn't surprising because of how busy October was for me. But I did get a few days to sit down and read, which is when all these volumes got read. I'm not going to go through these in any particular order, so I want to start with The Summer Hikaru Dies, Volume 1 and 2. The covers really stand out to me. It's quite a dark story at times, and the covers are these bright colours with just a character on them. And I really love the covers. I think the spines of the series are going to look really pretty on the shelf as well. This story is about two boys who live in a rural town, and the boys are called Yoshiki and Hikaru, and they're the best of friends and do everything together. But one day, Hikaru goes up a mountain, and what returns isn't Hikaru. The story opens with the two sat next to each other having an ice ollie, and Yoshiki confronting whatever is wearing Hikaru's body, or whatever is in Hikaru's body. It's a strange one. Most of the story comes from Yoshiki's point of view, and it's strange at first to see how quickly he just accepts this new Hikaru. But as time goes on, you get to understand why he did, and you see how he doubts this decision more and more. He isn't sure what to think. Overall, I really enjoyed these two books. There were some creepy moments with supernatural beings in the area, and I won't be eating chicken for a while. I'll leave that there for you to understand when you read the manga. And there are some really endearing moments for the new Hikaru, like when he's trying to get close to a cat and full on just pokes it. The cat was not impressed, but it's all part of the new experience for this new Hikaru. I really like both Yoshiki and the new Hikaru. I really want things to work out for them, but who knows what will happen, especially as we learn more about Hikaru's family. I don't want to say any more because of spoilers, but I really do recommend the series. I also read the Promis Neverland Volume 5. I'm slowly making my way through this fantastic series. There are some powerful and emotional moments at the start of this volume. I loved how the world outside was not what the kids expected. Not necessarily in a dystopian way, like everything is ruined kind of way, but in what the hell is this kind of way, where they didn't recognise the fauna and flora. It was so well done because it's such an assumption to make, assuming the plants and animals are going to be the same. That was my expectation as the reader as well. So I felt a bit silly not thinking about it. I just wanted to talk about the art as well for a moment. I love the detail and all the expressions on the kids' faces as they face different things, like the smug looking kid as he's crossing over the cliff. Right there, he looks so smug. He's got a little star on his face there. And this kid's reaction when he's being chased. This would be my reaction as well. The volume ends on quite the cliffhanger, so I cannot wait to pick up Volume 6. And then I read Volumes 3 and 4 of The Remarried Empress, which again I really enjoyed. I won't go on about how annoyed I am with the Emperor's reaction to everything going on. That's the Emperor there. Still don't understand it, but I ranted enough about him and Rashta in my last video about what manga I read, so I'll just leave it there with a note saying that has not changed. They're both hugely annoying. So in Volume 3, there's a really funny moment involving a love potion which is quite a bit stronger than expected, which ends up affecting international relations. Navier's brother is really hot-headed, and I like that. I think it's a fun contrast to have against Navier's calm and collected ways. But he does something that's quite unpleasant in Volume 4, which does make me dislike him more than I did. But he's still an interesting character to have in the story. We have less in-person interactions between Empress Navier and Henry due to illness in his family, so you feel like Navier is more on her own, but she's still awesome. I love how well she handles everything that is thrown at her. I could only dream of handling things this calmly if I were in her shoes. So Volume 4 ends with Navier's brother doing a little bit of detective work, and oh my, I really cannot wait for volume 5. I also read the first volume of Yakuzas Bias, which I don't think I was prepared to read. For those who don't know, this series is about Ken, who is a lieutenant in a Yakuza clan, and one day the boss's daughter drags him to a K-pop concert and he sees Jun for the first time. He ends up fully in the fandom. I expected it to be a bit cringy, which parts definitely were, to the point where I thought I wouldn't read beyond this first volume. I think part of it is because I'm personally not very into the whole extreme K-pop, follow people online and live in excitement for someone's next post on social media. But I have to say that by the end of the volume, I was really enjoying it and I wanted to read the next one. There's a cafe scene. It's a really good example where I'm dying of embarrassment, but it just ends up being so funny that I want to read on. I think it's because Ken approaches all this with a seriousness that fans typically don't. He takes things so seriously and considers the actions of the K-pop band with a level of depth many don't. Because of this, he ends up extremely popular in the online fan world, and I love how he drags more Yakuza into the K-pop scene. And the fans are really nice to each other. It's actually quite nice for Ken, who's clearly got a bloody and violent past. For him, this is a different world where he can be more at peace. Also, the reactions from the K-pop band themselves are great, and they're wholesome, and they seem to genuinely like the Yakuza fans. If the band members were unpleasant about it, I probably wouldn't care too much about continuing with the series. But because the band members really appreciate them, including the wild fanfiction about them, they come across as genuinely nice people. So I'm definitely buying the second volume of this. The next series is quite different to Yakuzas Bias, and that's Kakaro Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. I read the first 3 volumes because I wanted something that was pretty chill and that didn't get me too emotionally involved, if that makes sense. I think I was pretty tired at the time and this series worked out perfectly for me. It follows Aoi, who can see spirits just like her grandfather Shiro. He's dead now and she is kidnapped into the world of the spirits, Kakaro, because Shiro had debts to pay at the inn, and now the debt falls to her. She's told she has to marry the head of the inn, but she refuses. Instead, she tries to pay it back on her own terms. Aoi is a nice character. She's very empathetic and determined, which along with the relatively low stakes in this story, makes this manga an easy read for me. Throughout the first 3 volumes, she finds out more about her grandfather, who is both kind and kind of shady. He's definitely a rogue character, and we find out more about some of the spirits who work at the inn. My favourite at the moment is Ginji. He has 9 forms, and his child and animal forms are unbelievably cute. He's another kind character, but he's definitely hiding a secret, and I look forward to finding out what that is. I don't want to say more than that because I don't want to ruin too much, as not much really happens. Well, it does, but it also doesn't, if that makes sense. It's a nice chill read, which I really like. Moving on to the last 2 books that I read, Yakaza Fianc 3 and 4. These are the opposite of Kakaro. I feel so invested in the characters and their actions are sometimes so frustrating. I have to see where these 2 characters end up. It's about 2 people from different Yakuza clans being thrown together and being told they have to marry each other. Yoshino is just waiting out the agreed year before leaving, and Kirishima, well, who knows what's going on in his head, but he appears to be head over heels for her, probably for all the crazy wrong reasons, if we're being honest. Throwing Yoshino's old friend and family member, Shoma, this guy here, into the story definitely brought out the jealous side in Kirishima though, and I'm a bit of a sucker for the jealousy parts in this story, to be honest. But moving on, in volume 3 we meet Yoshino's cousin. She obviously cares for Yoshino, but wow, her scenes make it clear she's not above making decisions that are best for her. And volume 4 moves things from Tokyo to Osaka, and it's really fun to see Yoshino on her home turf. She pulls the wool over Kirishima's eyes a few times and I absolutely love it. I completely did not see it coming. He always seems to be the one in control, but now we get to see her in a completely different light. She's doing things her way this time, and it's great to see him so wrong-footed. The couple also have a few moments here that make it feel like this is it. Someone is going to say something important and endearing, and then boom, moment is ruined. It is torturous. But we get through it because it feels more and more like there's an end game between these two, more so than in any other previous volumes. And I love the mini stories at the end of each volume as well. They're so cute, and you get to see how Yoshino was raised. So that's it for last month's reads. Yakuzas Bias was the biggest surprise for me. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, and the Yakaza Fianc volumes, they were my favourite. They're just so fun, and the action is really starting to get going. I can't wait to read volume 5. I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe I've convinced you to try something here, or I've put you off, in which case I'm sorry. Have a great reading month, everyone. Bye!